So, welcome everyone, and I am so happy to see you attend the second event in this wonderful Mindset Bloom series. My name is Marina, and I'm delighted to have you all here today. Last month in April, we embarked on a journey together with our first event, Cultivating a Mindset Garden. Today, we continue this inspiring series with Nurturing the Caregiver Within. Before we dive into today's session, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our special guest, Deeea. Deeea and I had been working together for over 2 years, but we had never met in person until one warm August afternoon last year in Chicago. And when she greeted me with a warm hug and said, "Hello, I'm Deeea," it felt like we had known each other for ages. Her presence and her energy are truly remarkable, and I'm so thrilled that she is here with us today. This series would not be possible without the support of our incredible partners, coaching partners, MindGetter, Ada Ditrich, and a renowned mindset coach. We are grateful for their collaboration and dedication to making the Mindset Bloom webinar series a success. And remember, we have an event lined up for you every last Wednesday of the month. So make sure to mark your calendars. I also want to give a special shout out to our colleague Stefana. You've already seen her in the chat, and she's assisting us with the chat today and everything technical that's in the background and it's not so seen to you. If you have any questions or need any help, she's here to support you throughout the webinar. Thank you all for joining us. Let's dive in and start nurturing that caregiver within. Deeea, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at you. Also French.
Merci beaucoup. Oh, thank you, Marina. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I do remember that August day when I went to Chicago, and I remember the hug, and I remember thinking, wow, I had the impression that you're taller. I keep forgetting how tall I am in usual regular life. And because everything is happening on Zoom lately, for years now we've been just seeing each other in Zoom sitting down. It's kind of hard to figure out who's taller and who's shorter. But thank you. It was wonderful to see you also at that point.
Never mind me. I just closed my microphone for some reason. I thought I'm not supposed to speak anymore or I forgot I'm the moderator maybe. All right. So, I think what strikes me about you, so like when I see you and when I met you too, you're so bubbly and so energetic. And I just wanted to ask you, have you always been this way?
No, God, no. But before getting to that part, I actually want to ask everybody that's here, and thank you for being here, and welcome to our little webinar, Nurturing the Caregiver Within. Drop in the chat real quick. Let's say between 1 to 5. What's your energy level at this point? Where are you coming from? Wherever you've been throughout the day or whatever happened. I'm curious to kind of see where you at energy-wise, low to high. And while you do that, I'm going to answer Marina's question. No, I have not. I was actually a very shy kid, very, very shy, very skinny, was like a twig. And everybody was joking around, like, if you put yourself sideways, you're going to disappear. Like, literally, I was that almost invisible, literally invisible. And I kind of kept myself the same way. On top of that, being skinny, being a little bit darker skin tone as well. And my teeth were also not that perfect. If you can see, they're not perfect even now. And I didn't smile for the longest time. I had a huge complex about my teeth. Coming from where I come from in Romania, in a small little town, my parents did not afford braces. Couldn't get them at that point. So I just grew up the way I was. And because I wasn't that perfect, I kept my mouth shut and I didn't smile. I was always like this. I was always hiding. Well, now these are my teeth and it is what it is. This is me, not hiding anymore. It took a lot of work to get to where I am right now, being this bubbly.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely relate to that feeling of not feeling perfect. I think you had prepped a video presentation for us, right?
Yes, I have. Kind of to summarize what we're going to be talking today and what I'm going to share, I do have a video. I hope you will relate to it. And I'm actually going to share my screen in here just a moment. My ask for you is to tell me, give us not a heads up, a thumbs up in the chat if you can see the screen in just 1 second. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. And you should be able to also hear a sound. Same thumbs up if you don't mind.
Your problem is not that you give too much. Your problem isn't that you love more. Your problem isn't that people walk all over you. Your problem might be that you believe you're a perpetual giver in a world of takers. For the longest time, that was my narrative. I saw myself as the one who always gave more, whether in love, in friendship, in my work, even with my art and these videos. It took me over a decade to become brave enough to consistently put out my own work. I'd say things like, "I'll get to it later, maybe after this client project." I thought this was noble and selfless and respectable, but it was none of those things. It was a choice. And more often than not, when we put others first, we're also putting ourselves last, and then complain that the world is out to take what we have to offer. But here's the uncomfortable truth. No one was stealing from me, and no one is stealing from you. I think that we sometimes choose to be the martyr in our own story, thinking that it makes us a hero. We love the idea of being the one who's self-sacrificing. But when we say things like we're the ones who do more and love more and give more, what you're really saying is, I believe in you more than I believe in myself. What we're really saying is, I think you deserve this extra love, but clearly not me. What we're really saying is, here, have this piece of me, because I don't value it enough to hold on to. And chances are, when we're constantly feeling like we're running on empty, we're not just being generous. Sometimes we're hiding. Our willingness to give can be a mask for our expectations, our insecurities, our fears. And true generosity comes from a place of fullness, not from an empty well, not from a place of expectations. And I also hope that you know that you can be as generous with yourself as you are with other people. In case no one told you, you are deserving of the same kindness and understanding and love you so freely offer other people. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and it might go against your old beliefs. And at the end of the day, there's no such thing as too much love or too much giving. But there is such a thing as doing them for the wrong reasons. Because sometimes the problem isn't that you're giving to other people too much. It's that you're giving yourself too little. Honestly, you'll never have problems again if you just know how to make yourself delicious food.
I love it, Deeya. And I like the fact that she ended up on a happy note, but that's a very good lesson for me to remember. Um, I should be giving myself a little bit more, but I wanted to ask you, Deeya, because I know you personally and I know you're a giver. And how do you do it? Always giving, always being a giver. How do you keep that up?
When I saw this video some time ago, I felt like it literally talked to me directly. And I felt it all the way inside, like everything was shattered. And I think that was probably the point when everything made sense. And I started looking back, analyzing a bit of my past. And I realized that I am coming from a family of givers. I grew up with this model. My mom is that person. She is a perpetual giver, over and over and over and over, and always. She always puts herself last. So growing up with that, it was embedded in me. I didn't act on it until much later, as you know, you're kids and you're taking, at that point you're taking, you know, I took. She was giving and I took. Well, the time came when I started giving, and that whole model came up front. And just to not for nobody to take my word like in a bad way or anything, my mom is an amazing person. That's how she is. That's exactly how she is. I took that model and I just replicated. Well, I tried to replicate it in all fields of my life. And I started giving. I started giving to others. I started giving to my family. I started giving to boyfriends. I started giving to job. I started giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. In all this, I forgot to give to myself. The way she explains in that video, the problem is not that you're giving too much, it's that you're giving yourself too little. So here I am in this position where I had to do something. I had to change. I had to make a shift somewhere. You know, things are not easy, and they're not easy to grab. You can't, first of all, it's hard to admit to yourself that you're doing something wrong. And it's not that it's wrong for yourself. And you don't see it until sometimes it's too late. So I hope I answered your question, but it was how I was brought up, pretty much.
Yes, you did answer it. And I just want to dive a little bit more into the topic, because you, and not only you, a lot of women wear multiple hats, right? You're not just the woman at home, the mother, you have a job, you per se, you're in a leading position. So how do you tackle that? Because I'm assuming that your style of giving applies in all areas of your life, right? So do you want to expand a little bit on that? The multiple roles. Deeea is the parent, Deeea the CEO, Deeea the leader. What's up with that?
Exactly. What the heck is up with that? That's funny, because some of my friends, at some point they were like, okay, I don't know what you're doing. Like, if somebody asks me, I can't tell them because I don't know exactly what you're doing. So many things on so many fronts. Like you said, they are the mother, they are the wife, they are the woman, first and foremost. They are the CEO, they are the co-founder, they are the singer, they are the writer. I have a children's book that is out there. So there are multiple faces to this Deeea. And all these, I am the centerpiece. I am the one in the middle. And it took me a long time to internalize all this. At some point, I was like lost. Okay, who am I? Who the heck am I? And I realized, you know what? I am all this. I chose to be all this. I want to be all this. How do I make this work? That's where the entire challenge came. So all these days, I am a woman, as we all know, it's pretty clear. We women have a gift that it's in our DNA. We are the caregivers. We are the people that show all this nurturing to others, male and female alike. It's in our DNA. I'm not saying men don't have it. There are exceptions on both sides, but women are the ones that are born with the gift. So they are the parent, they are the CEO, they are the leader in a team, and so forth. First of all, for you to be a leader in any given situation, at home, at your job, in your community, wherever you are, the first quality is to choose to be a leader. You can't be named by someone. You can't be like, you know what? You have some of these qualities, I'm going to make you a leader. It doesn't work like that. Not everybody wants to be a leader, and not everybody should be a leader. The same with parents. Not everybody wants to be a parent, and I don't know, maybe some shouldn't be parents. First thing is to choose to be that. Now, what is a leader's job? What is a caregiver's job? We are caregivers. What is our number one job? Contrary to what is out there, our job, it's not to put ourselves on the first place, is to take care of those in our care. We need to take care of those people. And Simon Sinek, actually, he pretty much summed it up really, really well. And I'm trying to find his quote. And of course, I'm not going to find, because, hey, things have to go wrong in this little webinar, because otherwise, how are you going to remember it, right? Oh, I went to a webinar and she just actually forgot her line. Here it is. A leader's job is not to be in charge, is about taking care of those in our charge. And I just love the way this sounds. I'm not in charge here. I'm here to take care of you that you are in my charge. Not easy. By no means not easy. What makes us different? I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
just want to say one more thing. Once you grasp this, once you actually understand that your role is to take care of those in your charge, your whole perception shifts. Your focus is no longer on you, but it's on others.
So I think that creates a lot of pressure though, right? So all the way you were raised, the fact that you feel and you adopted this to the core, being the caregiver and putting other first, it must have had a toll on you.
It did. And that's why probably we are here. It's the first time in my life that I'm going to share this story with everybody. It's a dark story. It has a happy ending, but it is a dark story. And if this story can help someone, at least to acknowledge the signs, at least to be aware of the red flags that are coming so they can prevent that, that would make me the most happy person on this planet. All this, it did took a toll. And to give you a little bit of a history, you are probably at this point, everybody's familiar with panic attacks and the effects of burnout and how it manifests. Well, burnout was strange to me. I've heard the term, but I could relate somewhat, like I've heard people talking about it, but I've never been through it. So my first panic attack happened in 2020 during COVID, when all the kids were forced to stay home and homeschooled by their parents and virtual teachers. They were trying to make that work. My little world was homeschooling my oldest, having the other two at home that were not in school yet, having a full-time job on top of all that, and a little dog whose name is Bruno. Poor darling, he was the last on my list in all that period. I know he suffered from neglect, and I'm sorry, but I had no choice. So it hit me one midday, and I didn't know what was happening. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what was going on with me. I started hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I'm a bomb ready to explode. I started crying all of a sudden. My oldest, she looked at me, freaked out. She was in the first grade and she got so scared. I got up, I picked up the phone and I called my husband and I just told him, I don't know what's happening. It's awful. I can't breathe. I feel like I'm dying. I don't know what's going on. And he did the most natural thing, and I love him for that. He distracted me. He was like, where are you? I'm in the kitchen. I don't know what's happening. I'm losing my mind. I was bad. I was really bad. Okay, what do you see outside? I don't know, trees. Oh, really? Do you see any flowers? Is it raining? He took me out of here and placed me outside of myself. And he did that for a full hour. What did you eat? What are you dressed with? Let's talk about something else. He just spinned me on all sides and he got me out of that. Well, that was just the first panic attack from many that followed. And they followed a lot of them over the years. Ended up in ER multiple times. I started in all this process, I started becoming very irritated and irritating. My tolerance level dropped. Like I was becoming a monster. My girls even had a name for me in that period. And they said, no, we don't want to see mommy's dragon. Mommy has a dragon. They called it a dragon. They could feel that something was wrong. My patience was at the limit. My performance was the lowest. I could not perform at work. I could not perform at home. I was in this whirlpool of anger, of frustration, of confusion, of what is going on, what is going on, what is going on, what is going on. And you know, it's not pretty when you're on a merry-go-round, but how do you pull yourself out? What do you do? What do you do at that point? You realize that you're hurting yourself. You see that you're hurting yourself. You have no idea how. It's like a slippery slope that goes down and down and down, and you're oblivious to it. You start blaming everybody else. It's my husband's fault. It's my kid's fault. It's my dog's fault. My boss is an keep it PG. It's everybody's fault and not yours. And that's where you at. How do you pull yourself out of that? When you realize that you are the cause of everything around in a way, but you don't see it. At that point, you just don't see it. You're blind. So when you finally figure out that I am the one that started this whole chain of reactions around me, you become numb. You become numb and you start blaming yourself. You start accusing yourself. All the decisions that you've made, everything that you did, it was your fault. You start realizing that. I realized that. And I said, wow, I am the cause of all this mess. It's me. My kids are the way they are right now because of me. My job is in the state it is because of me. My husband has no idea what's going on. How can he? He's trying his damnedest to relate to me on any little level, and he can't because I'm just shut down. And I got to that point where everything is dark. I never thought I was going to actually see that darkness. It's dark, it's empty, it's heavy, and you are there. You are right there in the middle of it, and you can't pull yourself out. So you sit there and you sit and you sit and you sit. And one thing pops out. What if I am not? What if I will not be here? What would it happen if I just remove myself from the equation and I no longer exist? And I took that as a possibility in fixing everything that needed to be fixed. It wasn't easy to think like that, to act like that. I started making plans. I started imagining different ways of taking my own life, different ways of approaching this. How would I do it? Where would I do it? When would I do it? I never really took in consideration everybody else's thought and opinion about it, because I figured, hey, if I'm not here, because I'm causing all this, everything's going to be fixed. Everybody's going to go back to normal. I fixed everything, the fixer. I was the fixer at that point to fix this whole problem. And it happened. I was very close once. I stopped. I'm sorry.
Take a moment. This cannot be easy to relive.
No, but I want
to share out loud.
I want to share it because it's real. It's real. It's not a fantasy. Depression is not a fantasy. Depression is not an action of, oh, you're so bored. Let me give you something to do so you don't have to think about all this. It doesn't work like that. It's real, and it's affecting people's lives all around us, all around us, all around us. To get to the good part, how did I pull myself out? How do you think I manage? I don't know if you know of people that went through this situation and pulled themselves out. I'll tell you how I did it. It's not a recipe, just a disclaimer. It's not a recipe. It's just what happened to me. One morning, I woke up. I woke up. I don't know if it was morning because I was in bed for like days. I didn't want nothing to do with the world. And I came downstairs, might have been noon. The kids were awake. So I come downstairs, and out of the living room, I see these 3 little creatures with their hair in the wind. I think they were still in their pajamas. I know I looked like a zombie, like I was a mess. And I come in the kitchen and they come from the living room yelling, "Mommy, mommy, get awake, mommy, 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 mommy." And they run towards me and they hug me, like they hug my waist, my legs. The little one barely could hug one of my legs, but they were there hugging. And I was standing as a statue. And I looked at them and I realized the most crazy thing. I felt nothing, absolutely nothing, no emotion, good, bad, upsetting, nothing. It was empty. It was an empty void feeling. And I stood there with that empty void feeling, trying to absorb it, trying to internalize it. And because there were no feelings, shut down completely. Only thing that was functioning, that they could function, was my mind and my mindset. So my rational side, rational brain kicked in, like kind of punched and was like, "Hey, yo, what are you doing? These are your kids. You remember? You carried them for 9 months. You had C-sections. You threw your guts out throughout the pregnancy period. You've done all these things. Let's get some signal out there. Let's see what's happening. What's going on with you?" And these little nudges kept coming, kept poking me. And something that hit me at that point was like, you know what? When you have an empty space, what can you do with it? It's empty. There's nothing there. Somehow I saw an opportunity. Somehow I saw an opportunity to fill it with something. And that was the point for me that I genuinely wanted to dig myself out. I said, that's it. You've been here far too long. You still have reasons to be here. Don't be stupid. Don't do something reckless. Dig yourself out. There's nothing there, so you can start putting things. And that was the point that everything changed. That was my return point. And it was a very hard thing to do. I was very lucky at that point because I had some amazing people in my life that helped me pull myself out. There were 3, to name them. I chose 3 people to help me. I realized, you know what, you can't do this by yourself. And then there's a 4th reason that I'm going to tell you about in just a second. But the first person was my husband. I had to come clean and I had to tell him, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. I'm thinking of taking my own life. Poor guy, I don't know what was in his mind. I know it was hard, but I had to come clean. I had to verbalize what I said. And once you verbalize what you said, once you hear yourself saying it out loud, it loses its power. So the fact that I told him what I wanted to do, that was one point for me to start coming out. The other person was my brother, actually, who I love dearly. And the 3rd person is actually here. And you see her in the chat. Her name is Stefana. She's a psychology major. And she was there throughout the whole period, holding my virtual hand on the other end of the line, because she was in Romania, I was here in the United States. And she was the 3rd person. So I used these 3 pillars to dig myself out, to hold on to them and get small steps out of it. I need a moment.
Take a moment.
Have some water.
Okay. It is, especially in a virtual setting, but you're not alone now, and you're so much stronger for the experience you went through. And I'm so happy you agreed to share it so that it can be used as lesson or positive example that it can be done, because there are situations when the ending is not as happy. So I appreciate you for being so open about it, and so allowing yourselves to be sensitive and vulnerable.
I have to, because I'm going to keep on going. I'm not stopping. If I made it through this, like if I made it through this, is there really any other limit? I don't see one. I don't see one. And I'm grateful, not to, I'm going to use something that I saw on TV a long time ago. I'm going to thank myself like Snoop Dogg did long time ago on the Hollywood Walk of Fame when he received his star. His whole speech was, I'm going to thank myself. And we have to do that. We have to thank ourselves for everything that we've been through, everything that we did. It is our merit for all of it. So from here on, honestly, the sky is the limit, honestly. And I'm ready, and I've been ready to embrace that mindset and to put myself first. Even my kids know at this point, who is number one priority in your life? Oh, sorry. And they will say me. Is that selfish? No. In your own life, your priority number one is you. You need to be good. You need to be okay. You need to be healthy. You need to show yourself all that love so you can overflow it to others, each in their own little world.
That's so wise. And I mean, at least for me, I know this theory, and it's so useful to keep hearing it and keep listening to these examples so that you can actually implement it. And some days you might do it in baby steps, some days you might do jumps in a good direction. But I think, like you said it, don't give up and just keep pushing. So about this new mindset and embracing a new mindset, I know, and that's the purpose of the series, right? And we kind of accustomed our listeners during the first episode. We have a live demonstration plan for today as well. So for that, we will ask someone in the audience, whoever wants to put their hands up, and we'll be promoting them to a panelist so they can enable their camera and their microphone. Obviously, we would prefer if this person is not someone that has a lot of experience, so that this exercise can work a little bit better. Do we have anyone that would be interested in doing this test?
While they're thinking, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. It's a simple exercise. You know, sometimes you don't know where to start. What should I do for myself? What is the thing that I want to do for myself? Where do I want to start? What are the things that I need? And this exercise kind of assists you in identifying what is, even like you said earlier, the smallest step, the smallest step that you can take in taking care of yourself and your own needs. It just give you a little bit of background over there. And truly anybody can do this. It's going to be very easy. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to do it together with you. Yep, raise your hand if you want to try this exercise. Be brave, be brave. No, I promise we're going to have fun with it.
It's okay if we'll give it a few seconds. If nobody is brave enough. Oh, we have one, Elena.
There we go.
Okay, so let's bring you in. I think she's here.
Hello.
And she
Hi.
can, hi.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi, nice to see you, to meet you.
You too, Elena. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Like I said, it's going to be really easy. The only request would be, do you happen to have a pen and a paper? Something to write with. Take a moment.
Sure.
How are you today, Elena?
I'm good at the end of a busy day,
Ooh,
but it's okay. So I have a pen and paper.
wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Here's how this is going to go. I'm going to invite you to write down 3 goals or 3 objectives that you might have for the foreseeable future for your own well-being. 3 things that you want to do for yourself in the upcoming future, for your own sake, for your own well-being, for your own mental, physical, psychological health, however you want to choose it, wherever you want to get it from. Just 3 things. What would you like to do for yourself, not for others? This is no room for nobody else.
Okay, I'm gonna be selfish on this one.
Oh, please do. That's the whole point of it. Be as selfish as you can.
Done.
Done. Wonderful. Next to each one of them, I am going to invite you to choose a color to associate it with. Whatever the first color, the color that comes in mind.
Okay.
Wonderful. Next to the color, I'm going to invite you to associate a taste. Something that color inspires. What could it taste like for you?
Okay.
Out of all those tastes that you put down, which one of them do you feel closer to you at this point right now? And I'm even going to invite you to close your eyes if you need to try to feel the taste of it in your mouth, the texture, maybe the way it feels. Let your taste buds kind of imagine that taste. Which one of those 3 would be closest to you at this moment?
Do I tell you or
If you choose,
circle it or?
you can circle
Okay.
it. You can tell them it's your choice.
Sour.
Sour. All right. What does it tell you in comparison to the other ones that you found? What are the other 2?
Sweet and fruity.
Sweet and fruity. So the one that you feel right now is sour. What is the goal that you associated with that sour taste?
Losing weight.
Losing weight. Okay. Okay. So that's the one that it's most pregnant. Not pregnant. What's the word? Pregnant. Not
I get what you mean.
Just keep going. It's fine. We get it. The stronger one.
I love it. It is awesome. So that's the one that it's most strong right now at this point. What does that
Mhm.
tell you?
I don't know what the taste tells me. I usually like sour
Mhm.
stuff, fruits, anything sour. I like it.
Mhm. If you were to switch that taste with any of the other ones, would you do it?
Not really, no.
Okay. The whole point of this, just to give you a little bit of a brief of this exercise, sometimes we don't realize, we don't know the things that are most important to us. And when we associate something that it's a concept out there, whatever it is, with a sensory part of our body, things start to become a bit more clearer. Did you know that this is what's going to end up? Did you know this is what's going to come out to?
No.
Once you put up one of the 5 senses that we have on taste, I found that taste is the most, how to put it, the most strong that I could tell because it's on the inside and you can taste, you can feel it differently. It usually works. And it usually tells you that, you know what, maybe we should do something about this. So I encourage you to take some steps and to do something in that direction. To you, it's obviously that's what you want. That's the goal. That's the first thing that you want to take care of.
I started
Wonderful.
taking steps.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Elena, thank you for doing this exercise.
Thank you, Deeea.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Oh, this is so nice. So nice. I use this exercise a lot with my clients, with my coaching clients, and it's just amazing what it comes out in most of the situations.
Yeah, it's funny because I try to do it at the same time with Elena, and I associated lose weight with sweet. Huh.
Okay.
Just saying that I have a sweet tooth, and you know, like you can imagine how you can think about sweets, but it's not good for losing weight. So yeah, that's just for thank you for the exercise, and yes, so brave of you, Elena, for joining us on screen. I know it's not easy when you're prompted to do that so unexpectedly, so we appreciate you. I think we reached the part where we would have to accept some questions from the audience. We had, oh, thank you, Elena. We had gone over, you know, the experience, what is a giver, what happens when you give a lot, what happens when you reach rock bottom, how in this particular situation that was shared with us, Deeea was able to get out of rock bottom and find something to grab onto, in her case, 3 pillars and some light that she wanted to fill herself with. So I wanted to stop now and allow everyone, you know, like, and this is a free space, right? And we don't do anything with your questions, and this is going to remain private. And just if you want to post in the chat, you know, like, do you have any concerns? Do you need to ask anything? Feel free. If you don't want to share it with the whole group, you can just text the question to me and I can read it out loud for Deeea to respond. So
I'm here. I am here to answer whatever question you have. And while they do that and they think about their questions, I remember I said that there's a 4th pillar that helped me. And
oh, sorry. I must have missed that.
oh
Sorry.
no, that's fine. I missed it. I mentioned it. So now I'm getting a little room to say that. It was coaching. It was actually coaching. And being in the US for so long, you know about it. And I've always wanted to get into it more and more and more. But the opportunity came when I was in Romania, and I'm happy it did. I'm happy that I was able to take the coaching partner course that they have and to get in this world. If you ask my husband, and he's here, by the way, he will tell you that every time I have a session with a client, or we have a meeting with the fellow coaches, or we get together, I always change it. It's like it benefits me, and he could actually see the effect of that, and that I grabbed a hold on that, and I'm holding it still, not letting it go.
That's amazing. And look, some questions are starting to appear. Before you had that awakening moment with your daughters, what could have somebody else do that would have helped you?
What could have somebody else do that could have helped me? That's a great question.
Like if you would have not had your own awakening,
Mm-hmm.
what would the people outside what can we do if we see some things like that, if we see the signs?
Well, what are the signs? Let me put it that way. You said at the beginning of the webinar that I am very bubbly, and you can tell I am. It's a state of me. At that point, what I realized is that I was hiding behind this mask. At that point, it was a mask. Right now is just genuine. There's no mask. This is who I am. But back then, I was putting this mask in everybody's face. How could you tell that there's something wrong with me if I would have not disclosed it? So nobody could have helped me because I had to acknowledge it for myself first. And the moment I said it out loud to my husband, and it wasn't just to my husband, Stefana was the other person who heard this. They were just them too, that I declared this to them. I think that was the point when they could understand how to help me. But I don't see, unfortunately, a way for someone to help you unless you ask for it. And I know this from my own experience, and I know this from my brother's experience, because he struggled with this couple of times, and it's not my story to share. But the moment he asked for help, that's when help came. Nobody could have done anything. And trust me, they tried. Alina, thank you so much for the question. They tried because they could sense something was wrong, but there was a front of no. Nobody could do anything for me until I am ready to take the help and reach out for it. And it has to come from that person. And if you do have somebody like that in your life, honestly, if someone goes through that, the best thing that you could probably do is just to be there with them in that mess. Because if you try to pull them, if you force them, it's very sensitive. It's a very slippery slope. It could go either way because they're so blindsided by all sides. So if you do have someone, just be there with them. Sit in that mud, sit in that darkness, listen to them, let them be and go through the motion. And at least when they're ready to ask for help and they're ready to reach out, you might be the person they turn to because you were there. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, and Elena says, I think a lot of us are just used to helping others, that we forget to take care of us and say no to others. What would be some easy tricks of saying no to others? Like, she wants a shortcut in saying no. She wants to say no, but still appear to say yes.
You want to say no, but in the same time, you don't want to give the other person the impression of saying no, and you don't want to hurt them. I've been there. Elena, thank you for the question. I've been there. I've been there. That was one of the main issues. I could not say no. I could not say no because I was putting them in front of me. I was thinking at their needs. Oh, they need me. There was even a joke actually from one of my coworkers. She said, Deeya, you know what? When I text you, anytime I text you, I know that if you don't answer in within 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes max, something is wrong with you. And sure, it did. She texted me one day, and I happened to be in one of those lovely trips to ER for my panic attacks. And she got worried because I didn't answer her for 20 minutes. So she knew there was something wrong with me. But that was my main issue, not being able to say no, exactly because I was thinking of the other person. Now, in terms of tricks, should I tell you some of my tricks? Should I say that? First thing, if you really don't want to if you really want to say no, the easiest thing is to say no. Now, maybe don't blunt it up. You know what? No. Don't find an excuse to leave room for interpretation either. Because that's when you're like in that gray zone, you're not here, you're not there. And the confusion and the other person doesn't know what to understand. So what I do in a very polite way, in a very honest way, I tell them why I don't want to do it or why I can't do it. Whatever reason you might have, you're not in the mood, you have other things to do. Usually for me, there are other things that I have on my plate that are more important to me. So I respectfully tell the other person, listen, today or now it's not a good time. Maybe some other time, if you really want to do that at one point. But if you definitely don't want to do that and you really want to say no for good, just let them know that in the most honest and truthful way and nicest way that you could possibly can. That way you don't offend them, you don't hurt their feelings, and you are also at peace with yourself that you did the right thing towards yourself. I hope that helps. Sometimes a good sturdy no, it's also the answer, because guess what? There are people out there who will keep poking you. You said them no at one point in however way you said it. You gave them a feeling of understanding that, hey, it's a no, but they still don't get it. So if you really get to that point, just listen, man, no. And it's okay to say no. How they take it, it's not your fault. It's no longer your concern. However they take that response from you.
I agree. I agree. And you know what? I try. When I started saying no, Elena, I started small. And I started with people in my immediate vicinity that I knew that would not get upset with me. But I still felt that guilt there, you know? So in case anyone else relates, how do you deal with that guilt? You know, like you say no, but then you feel so guilty that you end up still doing it just because you're like, nah, I don't want them to think that I'm not willing to help or not willing to do this for them. You know, like I said no, but I'll do it nevertheless. You know, how do you do with the guilt? What do you do with it?
This ties very well with the previous question. And I'm seeing here, Elena said, not a shortcut, but an easy way to start is to start. Just start. Just start doing it and see what happens. And you will be surprised. You will be surprised. People are going to notice around you. And don't be surprised if you're going to start losing some of those people that will no longer be around you. That's when you probably will realize, hey, these people were here only because I was always the one giving. I was always the one saying yes, 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 yes. Even if I couldn't, even if I wouldn't, even if I was on a illness bed, I kept being there for them. Well, they're not here for me. It's a nice experiment to do, actually. I've done it and it freed me of a lot of time. To tie in with your question, yes, guilt is poison. That's how I consider it. Guilt eats you from the inside out. And the one that eats you and poisons you is you. You feed that poison to yourself by many words. It could be, darn it, it's not their fault that they don't know how to do something. I know how to do something. I should have just done it for them. Then it would be better. And, you know, I would feel good about myself and I would feel amazing that I've done this for them. But in the same time, I don't want to do it because, you know, they should know this by now. Like they should learn this. They should have done it before. Why doing this? And you're just going back and forth and just, it kills you. It takes little chips. Little chips. Where is that guilt coming from? Well, it's coming from the fact that you do not appreciate you. You don't value you. You don't put yourself on the first step. Why? Well, let me ask you this, Marina. When you don't take care of yourself, do you feel guilty?
No, that's correct.
You
I
don't.
don't.
We never feel guilty when we do ourselves wrong. Why? That's the ego's part. The love to ourselves is the true power. Ego is there to just stir things and do things when it involves everybody else, but not you. So you will feel guilty for others, but you don't feel guilt for yourself. Well, maybe you should start feeling guilt for yourself. You should start switching this and saying, I haven't showered in 3 days. Man, I feel guilty. I didn't do that. We don't function like this normally. But if you start reframing that, you will see that you are the person that needs to take care of you first and not the others. And guilt will disappear. Once you make peace with that, once you show yourself all the care and need that you genuinely need, and you put yourself to shine in front of everybody else, it will start thickening, even towards kids. I'll tell you a story. Because as parents, mostly we feel guilty because our kids, we're not good enough, we don't do enough. Other mothers, I don't know, take their kids to Disneyland, we can't do that, you feel guilty, the kids are crying, I want to go to Disneyland, I want to go to Disneyland, and you can't do all that, so you start feeling guilty. What the heck, am I that? No, that's not the answer. No. Those kids and the kids will understand eventually. You killing yourself over that and blaming yourself that you're not enough as a parent for them, it's not the right way. You have to forgive if you've done anything wrong. If there's anything to forgive there, if there's something really bad, take the time to forgive yourself. That's for whatever it is that it is, and start showing the love that you need. Let them. You ever heard of that? Let them. Let them think whatever they want to think. Let them say about you whatever they want to say. Let them call you names and let them do whatever they want to do. Let them call you the worst person on the planet. Let them. You can't control them. You can only control you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's I think I heard about let them, but I'm not so sure. Do we have any other questions as we're wrapping up today's events? I just want to make sure we captured everyone's questions. I don't see anything else in the chat. Stefana has provided you with her input, and that's so valuable and so true. Deeea, you want to wrap it up for today? I don't see any questions. And
Yes.
then
Yes. Thank you, Marina. Thank you so much. First of all, everybody that is here, thank you for being in the attendees, part of the attendees. It was, I'll say it, it might sound weird, but I'll say it. It was my coming out of the closet with this. Up until now, it was just inside there. And as of today, is out in public. And I want to share it as wide and as far as I can. It's my own experience. Like I said at the beginning, it's not a beautiful story, but it has a happy ending. And sometimes I think of all those out there that are no longer with us because they chose to take the plan all the way to the end. And they had no other options and they had no one there to be for them and to help them out. Maybe they didn't have the willpower. I don't know, whatever the case is, but I feel for them. And I'm happy that I can be here and share my story and actually verbalize it. Love you all. Thank you for everything. And we'll see you next time.
thank you, everyone. And thank you, Deeea, for sharing that personal story. I want to acknowledge that this was a lot to take in for one session. The emotional depth shared today has surely left us all with much to reflect on. I want to remind you to check your email as you will receive, and some links are also will be posted in the chat, but via email as well, a link to the digital goodie bag that we have prepared for you that contains a wealth of resources and materials to help you continue nurturing your mindset. We hope you found today's event valuable and inspiring. Quick reminder, we do a session every last Wednesday of the month, so you can register for the upcoming sessions. A quick reminder that this session was possible thanks to our partners, coaching partners, MindGetter and Ada Ditrich. And this very special thank you for Stefana, who not only shared her wisdom with us, but she also did the back end support, and that's not easy. And your feedback is incredibly important to us. We'll drop a link in the chat, and you'll see this as you exit the event today. It's a link to a survey to collect your feedback. Tell us how we can get better. We love to learn and improve by listening to what our audience are saying. And additionally, if you found today's sessions valuable and would like to contribute to our ongoing efforts, we also will be placing a payment link in the chat. Your support means that we'll be able to continue our efforts and continue to inspire and support everyone around us in our little ecosystem. Thank you again for being here. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Take care and stay inspired.